Ooh, what's good, Commander fans? Super quick video here. This is rookie mini camp eve tomorrow. So they did report today, but they're not gonna play or participate in any drills, I believe. No play-by-play. Like I said, Dan Quinn's gonna have his press conference tomorrow at 1:15. That's what I've heard so far. 1:15 tomorrow on Friday, he will have his press conference. Then they'll start practice. Then we'll get some play-by-play by beat reporters, and I'll react to what we see basically like every off season. And then May 28th is the first day of minicamp or OTA. So we'll be doing that reaction. I am intrigued to see who's there at minicamp. Like I said, I did not see Marshawn Lattimore at any of the voluntary workouts that just happened these last 2 weeks. I did not see Larry Tunzel. Not a big deal, but I do want to see who is there and who is not there. So it will be intriguing and interesting to see that who's there and who's not. All right, so Jadeveon Clowney was released by the Panthers today, probably about an hour or 2 hours ago. Now he's a solid pass rusher. He's a good run defender. We complain about people not stopping the run or not slowing down the run game on the edge. We talked about Dante Fowler last year, who can slow down the run, but he was a good pass rusher. Jadeveon Clowney is capable of being impactful at both on all three downs. On all three downs, you look at his PFF grades. You look at some of his numbers from the last couple years. With the Ravens, he had a really good year with the Ravens. And that wasn't that long ago. That was the 2023 season. He had a darn good season with the Ravens. The Panthers were bad. He did not play against us when we blew out the Panthers. He did not play that game. I'm not saying he would have changed the game or anything like that. But you can kind of see the difference now. His run defense grade was a 63.4, which is pretty good. Pretty average. And he was 31st in run defense snaps with 255. And I compare that to Zadarius Smith, who was more of a pass rusher. Zadarius Smith only had 178 run defense snaps. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think the coaching purposely, they want Jadeveon Clowney on first and second down and third down. Now, if you bring in Zadarius Smith or Von Miller, those guys most likely will be your third down guys in there to rush the passer instead of having them in there on first and second down. If you bring in Jadeveon Clowney for a 1-year deal, Dante Fowler got paid $6 million. I think that would be pretty fair to give Jadeveon Clowney about $5 or $6 million for 1 year. Jadeveon, I think he signed a 2-year, $20 million deal with the Panthers. Now, I do want to look at some numbers from his Ravens season, like I said, which is not too far removed from this year, from 2024. So he had 9.5 sacks with the Ravens. He had an 83.8 PFF grade, 78 quarterback pressures in 2023. PFF said 10.5 sacks. Other sites say 9.5 sacks. With PFF, they always give like an extra sack to players, to their numbers. And then 3 of the last 4 seasons, he has had at least 14 games started, 650 snaps played, 40 total quarterback pressures in each season, at least 5.5 sacks, and at least an 11.5% quarterback pressure rate, which is pretty darn good. To have this guy as a late signing, maybe you do want to wait before training camp, but I think this is something that you kind of want to get done as soon as possible. I think there are going to be other suitors for Jadeveon Clowney, and I know people aren't going to be banging on the table for Jadeveon Clowney because Von Miller's still out there, Zadarius Smith is still out there. There's really those 3 guys are at the top of the list for free agent pass rushers at this point because everybody really got one. The Panthers got Princely I don't know how to pronounce his last name, from Ole Miss, and then they got Nick Scorton. So they moved on from Jadeveon Clowney, but he's 32 years old, 6'5", 266 pounds, athletic. You talk about an athletic freak. He still is an athletic freak. You remember the hit in South Carolina where Michigan snapped the football. He was in the backfield in basically 0.5 seconds. And I even remember people this offseason were interested in bringing back Chase Young. So you don't get Chase Young, but you get the person who basically is Chase Young Sr. and Jadeveon Clowney. And everybody's like, oh, Chase Young is basically Jadeveon Clowney. So you can get the original version of Chase Young and Jadeveon Clowney for the people who were actually interested in bringing back Chase Young. You can get this guy on a cheap deal for 1 year, and he can be your Dante Fowler. So his position ranking was 34th per PFF in 2024, 18th in 2023. That was one of his best seasons of his career. 27th in 2022. So he's been ranked 35th or better in 9 of the last 10 seasons at the defensive end spot. He also had 44 pressures, which was 38th in the NFL among edge rushers, 70.8, which was 47th among 211 edge rushers last year, which is pretty darn good. Pass rush grade 73.2, 63.4 run defense grade, which is solid. No forced fumbles, but I mean, look, like 33 hurries, which was 24th in the NFL. So, I mean, he had 4 batted passes, which was 3rd in the NFL. Get that left-handed up and batted pass now. So I like that too. There's some things to like about Jadeveon Clowney. There are some things to like. There's something he had 14 assists, which was 9th in out of all edge rushers in the NFL last year too. So there's some solid things about Jadeveon Clowney, man. There's some, and then this is back in 2018. Jadeveon Clowney led the NFL in run tackles for no gain or a loss back in 2018 and the 2017 season. Now I'm bringing up stuff from literally like 7-8 years ago. I get it, but you know, some stuff is from 2023 and even last year, like he did have a productive season. So I think it's a sign that wouldn't hurt anything at all. I mean, you bring him into the rotation. We don't have a guy that's really going to stop you from adding to the edge rushing spot. Like Dietrich Wise is solid. We have a bunch of solid guys. Dietrich Wise, Jacob Martin, Dorrance Armstrong, Cleveland Farrell, all solid players, but you still need some pass rushing juice right now. He's 32 years old. 3-time Pro Bowler. Was actually an All-Pro at one time in 2016. But has he ever had double-digit sacks? No, he's never had double-digit sacks, which is crazy. 9.5 sacks in 2023, and then 5.5 sacks last year in Carolina. Played in 14 games. And he has stayed relatively healthy for the most part. Only played 8 games in Tennessee. That was like the one year he didn't really play in a lot of games. But, hey, man, like I said, I don't think it would hurt to put a flyer in. But Von Miller, Zadarius Smith, one of the 3, I think they should definitely inquire. And they already are reportedly by Chad Forbes, NFL draft, interested in Von Miller. So I don't see why they wouldn't at least bring Jadeveon in for a workout. They didn't draft a defensive end. They didn't sign a UDFA defensive end. I know they like Javonte John Baptiste as well. It's crazy Jadeveon Clowney was the first pick of the draft. That's so crazy. It really is. So, yeah, like I said, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Jadeveon Clowney. If he is brought in at least for a visit or a workout or something like that. There's really no ties, I don't think. He's been on so many teams. He's almost like Josh Johnson with all the teams that he's been on. Well, he's been on like 4 or 5 teams. So he hasn't been on a bunch of teams, but he played with the Browns. Didn't work out there. He got 9 sacks in Cleveland in 2021, and then 2022 he had 2 sacks. So every other year he kind of, so yeah, 2021 he had 9. 2022 he had 2 sacks. 2023 he had 9.5. 2024 he had 5.5. So I think he's an every other year kind of guy. So we'll see. Maybe this is the year that he does end up getting 9 or double-digit sacks under Joe Witt Jr. and just tell him to rush the passer and slow down the run game too, man, and just use him in different ways, move him around. And there's one thing Austin Gale said from PFF. He said Seattle can maximize his value by deploying him at edge defender on early downs and moving him around on passing downs to give him favorable matchups. He thrived in this role in Houston. So I think that's some of what they did in Baltimore as well. So all right, you guys let me know what you guys think. They probably won't sign him. I honestly, at this point, I think it's probably Von Miller if they even do make a move, and I think they probably feel fine if they roll into the season with the guys that they got, which I disagree with. But I wouldn't be surprised if they just roll with what they got at defensive end and don't sign Von Miller or Zadarius Smith, Von Miller or Jadeveon Clowney. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't sign any of these guys. So all right, you guys, as always. And they do have the rugby player defensive end as well, TJ Y. All right, you guys. Hello, Commanders. Peace.